Literal, aka Mega Blitz. In today's video, we're going to be revisiting one of my favorite decks. However, Mega Evolutions gave this deck a huge buff. The last time I played this deck, I paired it with Iron Hands, and we kind of went like the turbo generator type route. However, this time we're going to be pairing it with the new Lunatone in Solrock. So let's get into that deck list. Already here at that deck list, we're going to be Ceruledge with the Lunatone in Solrock package. We could call this Surrock. I have no idea. Anyway, starting us off with Ceruledge EX. The first attack is the only attack we are using in this deck. With that 1 fire energy, Abyssal Flames 30+. This attack does 20 damage for each energy card in your discard pile. So the goal of this deck is just try to throw as many energies in the discard pile as possible. We've seen it paired with Palkia V-Star in the past. I have paired it with Iron Hands EX and kind of more of a turbo type package. We've seen it paired with all different kinds of stuff. The Drillbur kind of engine as well. However, now we're pairing it with the Lunatone in Solrock. Now, the Solrock doesn't really have any sort of kind of good ability or good attack with it. However, we do need it for the Lunatone, but its attack Cosmic Beam I have used before for 1 fighting energy, 70 damage. If you don't have a Lunatone on your bench, this attack does nothing. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance, so just a nice flat 70 is pretty good into just kind of some of the more, you know, basic 70 HP or 60 HP Pokemon in the meta right now, which is pretty nice. A little single prize attacker there. But the Lunatone is what we're going to be using, not for its attack, but for its ability. That Lunar Cycle. Once during your turn, if you have a Solrock in play, you may discard a fighting energy from your hand in order to use this ability, and then you draw 3 cards. You can't use more than 1 Lunar Cycle ability each turn. However, drawing 3 cards is really helpful. The problem that this deck had previously in the past was it had no sustainability after just kind of turboing out and going through literally half your deck or more in a single turn. Now that we have the Lunatone, we can actually kind of sustain a little bit, being able to still power up our Ceruledge EX by discarding energies and getting more in the discard pile, but having a draw engine as well. That's why the Palkia V-Star Ceruledge deck actually did so well, was because it had the Radiant Greninja in the deck. So we got 1 copy of that Squawkabilly EX for that Squawk and Seize, being able to just discard your hand, draw 6, motivate for 20 damage, choose one of your, up to 2 of your basic energy cards, attach them to one of your bench Pokemon. So, a little helpful in a pinch. I have used it before. And then we got Fezandipiti for Flip the Script, of course. 4 copies of Carmine. You can use this card going first on your first turn. Discard your hand and draw 5 cards, which is incredibly helpful, especially in a deck that's just trying to turbo out really quickly. 3 Boss, 2 Research, 1 Turo, 1 copy of Briar, which is something this deck hasn't really played in the past. I cut it from my Iron Hands Ceruledge deck because it just didn't fit quite well. But you can use this card if your opponent has exactly 2 prize cards remaining during this turn. If your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out from by damage from an attack of your Terra Pokemon, you take 1 more prize card. So being able to just kind of get a little cheeky extra prize card there is pretty helpful. Full Ultra Ball, 4 Nest Ball, 3 Night Stretcher, 2 Earthen Vessel, 2 copies of the new Fighting Gong, which is search deck for a basic fighting energy card, or search your deck for a basic fighting type Pokemon, and then reveal it and put it into your hand. So it's going to be very helpful to kind of get all the fighting energies out of our deck, or to find that Lunatone or Solrock for the missing piece for our draw engine. 1 copy of Palpad, 10 fighting energy, 7 fire energy, 2 copies of jet energy so we can kind of save ourselves from like Maractus Trap or Earthen Sudowoodo or anything like that. They're trying to kind of boss stall us as well. And then 1 copy of Legacy Energy. Let's get into that game. Already here at that gameplay here at the coin flip, we don't really care if we're going first or second. Ideally, I would like to go first. Going second isn't too bad though, because you can kind of pull off a little cheeky Solrock play, you know, in a pinch or anything. But we're not playing Technical Machine Evolution in this deck, so ideally going first is kind of what you want to be doing, and we are going to be allowed to go first. We're going to start off with the Squawkabilly in the active spot. Don't really want to start with Fez. It kind of feels a little bad. Going to be able to potentially use that Motivate for turn, but we'll have to see here. Opening hand, not super great. We're going to go Ultra Ball, discarding 2 fighting energy to grab ourselves that Ceruledge. Kind of just eyeing up potentially what I want to do. And I'm just like, you know what? It's got to be the Charcadet here to get into our Ceruledge. Attach the fighter energy bench that Fezandipiti Ex, Squawk and Siege, try to find our way into something here. Gonna go for that Fighting Gong, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, do I have any sort of Pokemon in the discard pile? I don't. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna grab the Solrock here. We're just gonna toss the Solrock in play. And then I'm like, I could Earthen Vessel here to kind of thin the deck a little bit more to get some more energies, but I have the fire energy in hand. Next turn I could kind of go for a cheeky little Motivate play if I need to, or Attach for turn or anything like that. So I just end up passing the turn. Our opponent here on the Monkey Dory in the active spot, but gonna go for that Buddy Poffin with 2 Dreepies. Buddy Poffin again for a Dreepy and a Duskull. So against our Dragapult Dusknoir opponent, so we kind of have to see what we can piece together here in this matchup. I'm actually just going to go for the Jet Energy up into the Ceruledge because I could retreat out of it potentially in a future turn, which could be very helpful. Unless they're playing Maractus, that I could get severely punished for this. However, I'm not too worried about it because most of the time, if you're playing the Maractus version, you're not usually playing Dusknoir. Most of the time is kind of what I've noticed. However, I've seen all kinds of stuff happen in Dragapult decks. So, looking at the Solrock there, it's just got a weird text going on, and I'm trying to, like, read the back text because I'm like, what the heck's going on with this card? I think maybe it's just some sort of weird glitch with the new Mega Evolution cards. But that's neither here nor there. Our opponent going to have 2 Dracloaks in play now. Going to be able to get that double Recon Directive rolling. Going to go Rare Candy into the Dusknoir. Going to be able to Curse Blast here. Getting rid of our Solrock, which is a bit unfortunate, actually. But we do have Night Stretcher, so we're kind of see maybe we can Night Stretcher, get the Solrock back, and kind of go from there. We're also going to be able to flip the script this turn. Pulling up that Fezandipiti EX. It does not require it to be an attack. As long as it's knocked out during our opponent's last turn, which it was, I will then be able to use that flip the script. But our opponent going to be able to Recon Directive right into the Iono, unfortunately for us. They're going to counter Catcher here, pulling up our Fezandipiti. And now I'm at this kind of rock and a hard place where I could Night Stretcher for an energy, attach to the Fezandipiti, and retreat. But I could also flip the script first and just see if I get an energy. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Flip the script. I do end up getting an energy, so we're going to bench that Lunatone here, attach the fighting energy potentially to that Fezandipiti. I Ultra Ball for the Solrock. I hold on to the Night Stretcher because I kind of want to go for an energy potentially, or just kind of wait it out and see if I do end up getting one. But I end up just drawing into one. So attach the fire energy and then retreat out of it, holding on to that Night Stretcher because it could be very helpful in a pinch if they end up kind of KOing a Lunatone or my other Solrock. I have the Night Stretcher in hand, and I don't have to require an Ultra Ball to be able to go get it. That's why I used the Ultra Ball that turn, was because as long as I don't Iono me or anything, I have the Night Stretcher to get the missing piece for my draw engine, just in case. We also opted out of not using Carmine that turn because I wanted to hold on to Ceruledge. I didn't want to lose it because I can evolve my Charcadet into Ceruledge next turn, and then being able to kind of find maybe another fire energy, being able to get another attacker ready will be very helpful. Our opponent going to lose Determination for only 6 cards, not the 8 they want. That Dusknoir coming to bite them in the butt a little bit here. But Buddy Poffin going to get a Badoo for our opponent. So looking maybe at an item lock here, which not really great for us, actually. I don't really want to be dealing with item locking. However, we're kind of in a position now where we're set up, so it doesn't really matter. It just kind of makes the Night Stretcher that I was talking about a little more difficult. And now they're going to Itchy Pollen, trapping the Fezandipiti, and now I can't Night Stretcher out of it, but we draw an energy for turn. We are playing like 20 energies in this deck, so it's very possible that was going to happen. I'm going to attach the fire energy here to the Fezandipiti EX, going to be able to retreat out of that into the Ceruledge here, and I'm like, okay, I could also boss and try to KO maybe a Dracloak or a Duskull, and I think KOing the Dracloaks don't really make sense at this point. However, getting rid of that Curse Blast could be incredibly helpful. So exactly what I'm going to do. We're going to boss up that Duskull, Abyssal Flames for 170, taking the knockout, going to 2 prize cards here. Now, we're at a pretty interesting point. I have Night Stretcher in hand, so if they don't item lock us next turn, I can retreat out of my Ceruledge and then try to maybe get a KO on the Latios if I can find Boss's Orders again, which would be kind of cool, and taking a 2-prize knockout. But we'll have to see kind of what that all pieces together. That is kind of the way I'm looking to win at this point, is the KO either a Dragapult or that Latios there on the bench. I don't really want to have to deal with this Badoo or anything, but if I have to, I have to. They're going to Iono us into Night Stretcher and Boss, actually, which is pretty funny because I think that will end up giving us the play that we need to actually win the game here. Now, something else to point out, as they don't know that we don't have those cards in hand, so the right choice for them is to Iono us. However, we didn't have it, so they Ionoed us into the cards that we actually needed to win the game, which I think is kind of funny. But you're going to use all their recon directives, going to get a Dragapult EX in play here. Like I said, had they gone for the item lock for another turn, they could have maybe kept trying to set up for a future turn. However, just having the Latios in play against this deck just feels like a really bad idea, as I'm able to just kind of punish you for it. And I end up getting the Fire Energy for attach for turn as well, which I think is absolutely hilarious. So we're at that 210 that we need. Boss's Orders, pull up the Latios, Abyssal Flames for 210, taking a knockout, getting our last 2 prizes against our Dragapult opponent. Really being able to just turbo out of the game, but also being able to sustain because of Flip the Script, but also because of the Lunatone and Solrock being able to use that Lunar Cycle, discarding that Fighting Energy to be able to draw 3 cards, was really kind of a way for us to be able to stay in that game, and prioritizing that Duskull KO was very important because then we're actually able to keep our draw engine, which is extremely important in this Ceruledge deck. Let's get into that outro. All risk and draw for today's video. Make sure to put Decklist that I played in today's video in the description below, ready for copy paste into TCG Live. And while you guys are down there, if you're enjoying the content I've been making for the channel, definitely make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. We're getting real close to 1,000 subs. At the time of me recording this video, I'm at 954 subscribers. So only just a small amount of 46 subscribers away. So tell all your friends. Tell them to subscribe to me because we're getting real close. Trying to come up with an idea for a 1,000 subscriber special. So we'll see what that looks like. But let me know what you guys think of Ceruledge EX as well. Is this deck kind of more your style? I've been really enjoying a lot of fast, aggressive decks lately after playing the Pittsburgh Regional Championships with Raging Bolt, just taking a break from the more slower, methodical decks that I tend to play and the kind of control elements. So I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!